Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to actually be talking about this topic, given that it's very close to my heart. Excited and jealous as well, because I would love to actually be a panelist and talk so much about this topic. Today, we're going to be talking about the growing emphasis on health and well-being in the real estate and how it has accelerated adoptions of solutions that enhances physical and mental well-being across the commercial sector, and until now, at a much lesser extent, the residential sector. In fact, I was just speaking at a panel and the speech yesterday with Dubai Municipality, and we were talking about AI and how AI now is being applied across many different sectors, but nothing is happening within the residential sector. Nothing is happening within our homes where we spend the majority of our times in. Panelists are looking at me now because it's their time to talk and not me. So we'll start with the questions. So Jan, I would like to start with you. MERED is known for premium design-led development. How are you integrating wellness elements from day one during planning and design, and what systems are being prioritized?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, first of all. Let's start with the Dubai's reflexes. As Dr. Burai mentioned, Dubai's real estate market is evolving super fast. So as being developers, we are just following these transactions. I believe just in 2024 only, there were more than like 180,000 transactions, and in 2025 coming more. So as merits, as being investors and developers, so for sure we are following luxury. And we are focused on the core residents that like we need to take attractions, right? And people's approach based on core understanding, starting with fashion, sports, and coming to the wellness, right? Lately. So following fashion, it's like with the architectural design, with the interior design. What we do, we are working with top tier architects, designers. So I'm pretty sure many of you know our project in Dubai, iconic residences by Pininfarina. So starting with the fashion, so our designer is not only an architect, but they design cars, well known with Ferraris, Lamborghinis. They design pens, they design coffee machines, they design buildings, and they design premises, spaces, right? So there's a connection with the sports. Maybe we can connect through sports cars as well. But also like our other projects, we have two more projects in Abu Dhabi developing. So we work with, again, like Herzog de Meuron, that type of architects, right? Coming to the sports, almost like every developer or almost every development have their own gym areas, like sports areas, so on and so. But it's like mostly, we have gym, but our focus is, no, we have gym, but that you would like to sign for this gym. It's not a small premise within the development, but it's a gym that you would like to go. So many of us, in our like buildings where we live or compounds, we have gym, but we would like to go for a more developed gym. So what we are concentrated is, like to have a real gym in our developments. I have to mention about the paddle thing, because it's like very common in UAE right now. So we also like implement paddle courts in each and every project, right? Then coming to the wellness, we approach wellness starting with health, right? Because wellness actually, it's not only, again, like, yeah, sorry, it's okay. Sorry. So wellness it's about health for us, because our understanding is it's not only a spa area or any related area. It's about health, right? So how people want to live, right? People are very interested, very concerned about their health, time, environment, and mental well-being. It's not only about the physical well-being, but it's also about the mental well-being. So especially lately, maybe last decades, and especially after the COVID, we all started spending more time at home, right? So we are used to spending more time at home. It's like a habit now. So remote working, even biggest corporate companies, they have hybrid working times. So now remote work is also like valid, and we spend more time at home. So residents now expect their homes to work for them. It's not just a living area, like the bedroom, a kitchen, going in and out. No, it's not like this. So we all want, being residents and other residents, they want their homes to be their space for everything. So at MERED, wellness is not an afterthought. It's built from day one. So we start thinking about it day one. Again, starting with health. So cleaner air, smart ventilation, HVAC, FC. I don't want to go into too much technicalities because I'm pretty sure many of you here, you know better than I do. So about the technicals, and not to go into too much details. But it's about water quality, to have purity and safety, right? But what we do at MERED is, for instance, about the cleaner air. So, these are like centralized systems. What we do, we add additional filters, for instance, which this will be a bit technical, I know, but I will just give one. I want to give one example. For instance, we add MERV13 filters to the HVAC. So no one knows, no buyers, no tenants. Maybe they are not aware of these filters, but these filters are used in hospitals. We build residential buildings, but we use such additional filters. Of course, we inform our tenants, but this is additional. So the return of these filters is just about a better living in the developments, right? Same with the water quality. So filtration systems within the apartments, within the premises, is default for us. Again, like about wellness, better sleep, for instance, right? It's all about air and smart lighting. So, and we can count more, right? So I don't want to go too much in details, but what people want in their homes is to reduce stress, saving energy, and feel the nature. So it's also about the amenities, right? So all of these for sure is powered with the smart systems we are all following, right? Including AI-driven monitoring and the central lock BMS. BMS is in use for decades, but now together with AI, we are all working on improvements in the BMS system and the connectivity to the systems. So it's actually kind of a new standard of living, and we are proud. Really, MERED is leading this shift. To have healthier, smarter, more sustainable communities, and we are doing our best following Dubai's smart city vision in this respect.
Thank you so much for that. And Jan, this is really music to our ears. And you mentioned Dr. Mahmoud, and we've been following some of the stuff that the government has been working and looking at what you guys are doing for residents. It's awesome because this is kind of like as Dr. Mahmoud was just saying, kind of like Dubai's trying to attract people to this part of the world. I remember he mentioned in one of the other conferences where he said, we don't chase butterflies, we create a garden and then the butterflies will come to it. So that's actually very, very nice that you guys are doing this for the end user, which is without them knowing. You're just doing the right thing for them, where they spend the majority of their times inside buildings. So moving on to Firas, Nordic office is rooted in human-centric architecture. From a design philosophy standpoint, what is changing when we approach communities through the lens of well-being rather than functionality? Like, what trends are you seeing in the industry?
No worries. Good morning. Thank you for the question. There's obviously a famous architect with the name of Mies van der Rohe, a 20th century architect who said form follows function. Mies obviously passed away many years ago. So at our little studio, we like to say form follows experience. So we're challenged by clients to create an experience. Some consultants call it user experience, but it's about the experience of space, what you see, what you hear, what you smell. So well-being, as you all know, is very much sensory issue. From the air you breathe, the lighting, the levels of lighting, the biophilia or the greenery you see around, all of that helps you, of course, either get agitated or calm down and de-stress. So from the passive point of view, in our designs, we ensure that there is light and views to the outside are very well respected. from the entry point to the point you get to your unit or office or whatever it is the building is about. There is a journey that takes you through a mixture of nature and natural materials. But of course, technology is a big part, and I understand this is a technology-oriented conference. So nowadays, well, a few years ago, of course, everybody was talking about smart buildings. Now we see AI is embedded into that. So now we see AI sensors or AI technology embedded in air and water quality. So they can monitor the the VOC2s and the CO2 levels in the air quality indoors, and make sure that you are getting the right type of natural ventilation or mechanical ventilation. We're seeing also AI-driven lighting systems. As you know, there's circadian lighting systems which work on our circadian rhythm of human beings. So these try to adjust based on the time of day to ensure there is a healthier existence, whether you're in the office or at home. Furthermore, biophilic design is more often now available. Now we see green wall systems that can be even embedded indoors with automated and AI-driven watering or irrigation systems. Acoustics. There is now AI sensors that can sense the noise from outside and dissipate it or negate it with specific frequencies. So you don't actually hear noise indoors. There's a lot of interesting technologies. Now, on the developer side, what we're seeing really is a very interesting trend. 10 years ago, when somebody speaks about LEED, it's always a nice to have, but it costs money. Nobody wants to do it. But now, because government, of course, is kind of forcing us to go that way, furthermore, the developers realize that the millennials and Gen Zs, on average, are willing to pay maybe 10 to 25% extra for a certified building, well, or LEED perhaps. Of course, maybe not my generation, but younger people. So our clients are finally now saying, okay, what can we do extra? And it doesn't have to be purely sensors and technology. Now we're working on development where literally the buildings are, very simple, functional, clean, nice design buildings, but the experience is a bit in between. We're building a whole sports center, a track that goes all around the development, just really encouraging and enticing residents to go out and be active. Several swimming pools, even the physical activities, we're now spreading them into several buildings or pavilions, if you like. So you do your yoga in one, your gym in another, your certain classes in another. And I think in the near future, developers will have to start facing that competition. What am I offering my residents more than just a gym and maybe a spa? That's a given. What is the next level? And so this is the trend we're seeing.
It's very, very interesting. And I'm glad that you touched on some of these certification things. It was kind of like a little bit of a free marketing for us. So thank you for that. But to your point, even from a government point of view, even from the certification and some of the work that the government has been done, where we've even seen the Dubai Land Department through Dr. Mahmoud and His Excellency Marwan, and we've worked with them very closely, where they're even promoting some of these certifications to management companies and to jointly own properties so that they could ensure the health and safety and well-being of these buildings. So moving on here, Kifah and Dubai Holding Real Estate, one of the largest in the UAE and maybe across the MENA region, you're delivering large-scale communities. How's the demand for health and well-being influencing handover expectations and post-occupancy satisfaction? What are you seeing?
First of all, thank you so much. And I'm glad that Dr. Mahmoud managed to attend this panel because, again, I do appreciate the efforts that the regulators are putting to not enforce, but try to promote a mandatory features. So just to give some, let's say, numbers or analysis, we all noticed after COVID that the value of the investment has increased up to 35 to 40%. Why? Because the new potential home buyers are getting the awareness of how a well-being features or an active living features and facilities are increasing the value of their investment. And within Dubai Holding, our 75% of the new buyers will come and check about what amenities you are offering, what active living, what energy saving solution. So we have at Dubai Holding adopted two things. Looking into the mega scale, the master community, we ensure, and please allow me just to give you some background on this. There is lots of happiness indicators across the world, how they indicate the happiest city. When you look to countries like Australia, especially Melbourne, Singapore, Finland, the happy indicators are all triggered to the quality of infrastructure and urban fabric. When you look to cities, let's say like Chicago or Cairo, whereas the expansion are going vertical to have that density and the cities that not allowing the access to common areas or open park or mobilities or adding inclusivity on the design. So we adopted these analysis to look into our master planning components. So whether we are developing vertical communities or horizontal, we start creating this, we call it Central Park. I'm sure most of you have seen our recent launches. So we are trying to create a central park for two reasons: to promote the social sustainability, bringing everyone together as a community, as a socializing, and making sure there is accessibility to open areas. And back to what my colleague Firas mentioned, we are trying to create different zones and hub. So we are start working onto the mental health well-being, which is a trend that after COVID, we start talking a lot about it. And then we adopted, of course, lots of certification that has been promoted by Dubai Land Department and Dubai Municipality, like Fitwell. So all of our projects now has to have 2 or 3 stars rating at Fitwell certification, and of course, building design guidelines. So this is from a Dubai Holding level. On the other side, we are as well have our community management arm, which we make sure for even the old communities, we do reinvestment to try to create all of these amenities and active living. And we have indicators on our customer satisfaction on how happy they are on that living experience.
Thank you. And yes, Dubai Holding is certainly doing a wonderful job as it relates to promoting health and well-being within the built environment, and especially with the communities. So moving on, Hisham, you're one of the pioneers in the region when it comes to the indoor environmental quality. What are some of the misconceptions clients still have about air quality, and how do you overcome that as one of the leading service providers here in the UAE?
Thank you, Tekha. Thank you so much. I'm going to start a little bit. I had a little notes here from the previous speakers too. On James, in your alignment slides, you missed the tenant or the end user there. And I think this is very important because we touch a lot of end users on our day-to-day work. So we see around 30 to 40,000 households per year. And these are existing units primarily, yeah? And I'm sure my colleagues on the panel talk about design and new builds and development, but there's, I'm going to be the advocate of these existing units in the market, which are a little bit on the legacy side. The common misconceptions is that and I'm going to focus on air here, which is the biggest within IAQ. The common misconception, my AC is running, I don't see anything on the vents, I assume everything's going fine. But there's much more to that. A lot of these residents are lacking awareness. So we have a framework where we educate on what is inside the air, what are the airborne bacteria, what is mold, what is dust, what is all these things. Then we monitor. So basically we have our air quality readers where we check the conditions and we take supporting visual inspections and show it to the clients. And sometimes we go a bit further to talk about the fresh air systems coming from the building and how good they are. To your point, Chan, all of them want transparency. So this is the common factor that we see. They want transparency from the property management. They want transparency from the developers to see how's their air quality doing. And here, this opens up a big opportunity for the industry to talk with the tenants and to show them what is being done and what are the levels out there. Yes, there's a lot of certification that are being pushed and adopted, LEED, well, and the likes of these, but the tenant is asking or is requiring more visibility and more exposure to these solutions and how do they impact their lives. So this is where we spend a lot of time on that. Now, the way we solve it, or we try to solve it, is by is trying to educate also the owner associations and the developers that the value of the assets is also linked to indoor air quality or indoor environmental quality, and that it needs to be connected to that. There's a major shift going on where tenant decisions and purchasing decisions are based on that, even for existing units. So there's a lot of retrofits that should happen. There's a lot of visibility that should happen on these things, because this will pay back in terms of value to the assets. Thank you, Tekha.
Absolutely, and great insights, Hisham. And I think one of the most important things that you touched upon, certifications are good, but how can you actually ensure that the right thing is done inside? And I mean, as I mentioned, we spend 90% of our times indoors, and this air quality impacts our respiratory health, cardiovascular health, and we can't see it. If you have dirty water in front of you, you can avoid drinking that, but we're all forced to breathe this air. So it's very, very insightful. Okay. So now moving on to the $1 million question, and that will be going to Jan. And I'm glad that we have some developers, and we've heard Mr. Imran from Samana before that talk a little bit about smart and technology, but there is often a tension between design ambition and budget realities. It's something that I know not many people will want to talk about, especially from the development side. How do you balance the cost of wellness innovations like air monitoring or biophilic design with the need to deliver on time and within budget? So that's your $1 million question.
Thank you. I wasn't aware that I will be earning $1 million with this panel, so good opportunity. I'll do my best. So it's a great question, and it's a big challenge, especially for the developers, for sure. I mean, the balance in between cost and the return, right? So for developers, the word, let's say, IRR is kind of our lives, right? And it's the fact, it's the reality, right? So, but I would say it's ambition and budget. So it's about ambition and being prepared. Again, like it starts from the very, very beginning. We have to start from scratch, right? So, for instance, for understanding at MERED, we don't see wellness and budget as opposing forces. So they work together. So as two sides with two value propositions, let's say, right? So for residents, again, so this is a full pack, right? This should be working for the residents, for the cities, and for the investors. So it should be win, 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 right? So again, the key is early integration. If you plan from the beginning, then you can get the return properly, because it's all about it's all about your calculation and your perception, right? So that's how we see that. As you know, like I did my best to summarize our focus on the core wellness features, that make the greatest impact, because it's limitless, right? You can work on each and every wellness feature. It's up to your product, it's up to your development. But again, as said, the air and water quality system, smart ventilation, and biophilic design, it's coming first for us. These are the first priorities. These are kind of must, right? So these are not luxury extras. We don't see all of these are luxury extras. Again, I would like to link it to health. So all these are essential for a healthier and more livable environments. So that's how we see. By embedding all these systems from the very beginning, from the concept design, maybe even while during the land acquisition, because you are close to sea, you are within the lands, it all depends, right? If you can plan from the beginning, you can avoid costly retrofits later. So that's the key. Maybe I'm repeating myself, but I believe when we talk about the budget, it comes to planning, right? So that's where budget efficiency comes in, which is the first step in. For sure, like in addition to that, digital tools are crucial. BIM, performance simulations, these all can help forecasting how systems will behave. So you can test it from the very beginning, so you won't have any surprises, during the design. So as developers, we are starting from the scratch and up to delivering the keys. So we are there when it's being designed, we are there when it's being delivered. So optimizing resources, preventing budget overruns, digital tools are the key for sure. I mean, we see, and I mean, for all of us, I'm pretty sure BIM is not just a model, right? It's the operational language. I believe we are lucky because especially in our region, it's very common, because even like we did projects in States or Europe, like no offense to any other region, but BIM here BIM is really a language. If you don't speak the language BIM, you cannot develop. I don't think so. You cannot build, you cannot design. So at MERED, we don't treat wellness as an investment, not a cost. For us, it's a strategy, and I think it should be like this. That's our intent.
No, 100% right. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned when it's done within new construction, it just makes everything easy. When you're still early on and you just add these things within your design, it makes a huge difference. Firas, how do you see passive design features like daylight access, natural ventilation, or material selection contributing to measurable health outcomes in both residential and mixed-use developments? And what challenges are you seeing?
Yeah, very good question. Obviously, as you know very well, there's two strategies when it comes to wellness and sustainability. There's the passive ones and the active ones. The passive ones are obviously the things that you can do from the get-go, from pre-concept, concept design, building orientation, for instance. In the West, you might want to maximize the south-facing sides of the building, to ensure there's enough sunlight. North-facing units are not allowed in some countries, while here we're kind of the opposite. So we try to orient the building, minimal sort of faces of the building facing south, and we try also to design the facades in such ways that reduce solar heat gain. These are some things that we relatively is possible to push for with developers, because they not necessarily require a specific investment. The active measures, however, are a different story. So from our point of view, what we try to do is work on the passive strategies first. Walkability in the neighborhood, for example, shaded walkways, cooling through water evaporation, evaporative cooling. In some cases, we even looked at a retail development outdoors with jet fans that reduce humidity, so that it was more walkable and sittable outside. So sometimes it has to be a mix of both active and passive. But of course, there is the active element. Now, the active element is a bit of a challenge because, for example, oftentimes we start putting PVs on the roof and then they get value engineered later on. So that's why we have to try to make sure that we get a lot of points. Of course, I'm talking certification here, very early on, so that when we get to the point when it's VE, we still have enough in the pocket to get the certification. Another thing on wellness, now I think it's interesting, institutional developers are very much interested, of course, in health and wellness, because it attracts employees, especially the young generation. So for instance, in one development, it's a very simple thing. Why don't we put the staircase in the middle of the floor plate, connecting the different floors that the office is on, so that the employees are encouraged to take the stairs rather than the lift. Something very simple. You walk into the building, climb up 2 levels, 3 levels, not a big deal, but it's actually more healthy than I'll go up and down with your staircases. So lastly, I just want to say that I think it's really developer-led. Developers have the opportunity to lead this charge, because at the end of the day, some architects will propose ideas, but if the developer is not open to them, then they're not going to go forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, passive, I mean, I believe that passive is the most effective because, this is how you can ensure 100% participation. So moving on to Kifah, from a quality assurance and development control perspective, how do you ensure wellness features like smart air systems or noise insulation perform as intended once people move in?
So let me just remind everyone, because maybe, let's say, customers will think developer cycle is only the 5 years. We design, we develop, we sell, we hand over, which is not the case. We look into the long-term cycle of that assets, which after handover, it's 25 years to 30 years. And that's where it will improve the brand equity of that developer. Let me speak about Dubai Holding. So we have two stages internally. The pre-handover, we call it quality assurance. This starts from the design stage. We engage in a day-to-day on that design operation excellence to see our development team, what is the end product that will give, implementing all of these air quality systems, water quality check, whether it's common area or in units. And this is where I think I echo Amran about the importance of having the technology and digital team, because we start looking into all of the assets, digital twin. What is the innovations and the systems that we want to implement from the design and make sure once it's handed over, whether to our facility management or end users, it's still functional and operational. So before handover, we do a quality assurance check on common areas and units across 10 to 15% of the units that we will be handed over, to make sure whatever implementation, especially we focus into two things: the air quality, the water quality, and the energy saving solutions like sensors on irrigation, on common areas, all of these things. Then after handover, the story does not end here. We do lots of education to the end users about the importance of having your annual maintenance contracts, your energy saving steps. Even with move-in, we provide some demonstration videos and smart living bundles with partners to make sure as well that investment will stay longer instead of the 20 years, maybe 25, 30 years. So that's on both parts. The areas we control, which is common areas, we put lots of KPIs on our facility management. And we give incentives to the community of they will achieve that much energy reduction, that much air quality, and we put the criteria on the FETWEL certification, part of that operation once we appoint our facility management. So it's important that the role of the developer will not end on the day of the handover. It has to continue during operation. We do lots of pulse check on our consumers' feedback, what we can do better. Have we improved their life quality, whether it's, as I mentioned, air quality, water quality, or living experience as an overall.
Oh, that's great. And you touched on awareness and educating the end user, and that's something that is very important, and not many people do this. It's very important for the end user to be actually aware and educated on these things. And Hisham, again, back to you, given that you work with these homes after they are handed over. I know you've worked, and your company has worked across many residential homes and commercial projects now. What trends are emerging in how technology is being used to actively manage and optimize well-being inside spaces?
Thank you, Tekha. Again, I'm going to take the role of the residents and the end users here, since they're not represented. I see a world where, so obviously there's more adoption of air quality monitors and smart air quality monitors into specific clients that are interested in their wellness. So we see that slowly moving there. But I see a world where this would be adopted either electively by clients or forcefully by developers. They would have something there. I don't know whether the technology will take us to having wearables that detect home quality and stuff like that, but I think it's gonna come there. So one, there's a penetration of the understanding. So people are more aware of the importance of these variables such as PM, CO2, VOCs, and their impact on lives, their sleep, their immunity system, their overall wellness. So that's the first part in terms of knowledge and readability. Now, the connection here is where the focus should be again. How can you link that with your home? If it's a smart home, you can connect it with a building BMS. You should have readings from within the units themselves. It's not only common areas where we look at things. We would want to look at things inside the units. And then again, you go back to the struggle, whether it's a legacy system, old HVACs, old water system, and how can you take them to the next level? And this is where I go to Kifah, is retrofitting existing assets, and whether it adds value to a group or a brand such as Dubai Holding or the likes of other, and the overall mix of things. So this is where I see the trend going. I see definitely much more penetration. I see smart air quality monitors linked with some sort of things. The easiest one is air purifiers, but then I'm talking about, again, existing setup, but for ready-made stuff, you can start linking it with water quality, air quality, circadian lighting, and all these features. Transparency, again, here is needed. Again, talking from a residency side, talking about twin visibility on what is being done within the community is really needed from residential perspective. I see a world where this becomes equivalent to any wearable that we are wearing now. So if there's like 30-40% of us wearing Whoops and the likes of digital watches, then this would be coming to the residential space.